Explain to us why you have these views, David, because you have a very deep religious belief.
Well, I do. I don't think there's any big deal here. Most of humanity throughout most of history have believed this, believed it on the basis of scientific evidence, believed it on the basis of how do we assign gender to people. When I use the word gender, I use it in the same as sex, assigned at birth. And yes, you mentioned my religious views. I'm a Bible-believing Christian. I believe that God made mankind male and female. And I believe that this is extremely important to us as a nation, as a generation, that we uphold this truth.
But Dr. Could I just say, this truth, whatever you deem to be the truth or whatever, in today's world, this ain't going to change, right? It's not going to change. You've lost a job over all of this. Why don't you, let's start with the easiest option first. Why don't you just go, yeah, whatever, you mightn't believe it or not, but why don't you just tick a box and save your job? Well,
first of all, it would be dishonest for me to do that. I would be, and lying is sinful. It would be sinful before God. And secondly, it's the same thing, isn't it? I do not believe it. And if we have no doctors...
Do you medically not believe it?
I medically not believe it. If we have no doctors or nurses with consciences anymore, anything can happen. We have to be allowed to have a conscience when we work as doctors and nurses, even if we disagree with each other on some things.
What about somebody who has had the full transgender surgery and believes that they have changed their sex, maybe from male to female, female to male, and they are living as that person?
They have the right to tell me.
Would you still not call them by the gender that they prefer?
They have the right to call themselves by whichever gender they wish, but as a Christian, I believe that gender is assigned at birth and that God made them male and female and that this cannot be changed.
Monroe, assigned at birth, you were assigned a gender at birth, but you believed that was the wrong gender, right? So Monroe, doctor, is the person she is today, but on, I presume, your birth certificate, it says you are a different gender.
Yes.
Yes. Now, doctor, do you have a problem with that? Monroe is comfortable in her own skin, who she is, what she is. Would you actually say to her, I don't recognise that?
Can I actually just say surgery doesn't actually have a bearing on how far someone is with their transition. You can be trans and have not even transitioned yet, and that's actually the most crucial point.
So the minute
when people are their most vulnerable and they need to be believed.
See, more this is where it becomes very complicated, very confusing, and actually I think perhaps makes it easier for the doctor, because he's actually saying if physically you are...
But that is his job to help people, and he's not doing his job by not helping people.
There's never been anybody that I've refused to help, ever, not once.
Well, we're talking potentially, aren't we?
So, we have a situation here, take Facebook, where we have 78 genders now, I'm told. Now, when gender becomes indeterminate, you can have 7 billion genders, or you can decide, or you can believe that gender is assigned at birth. Now, if gender is assigned at birth, it follows automatically that gender cannot change. It cannot change. It's impossible.
Gender identity. You're confusing that with sex.
So you're talking medically and physically.
I'm talking medically and physically as well. It's recognised within medical practitioners that this is the process and this is how you help trans people. And this guy is saying, no, I'm not going to help people because I don't want to refer to them how they are because of my religious beliefs. If this is his religious beliefs, then he should not be in the field, and he was right to lose his job.
You can't write off Christianity or religion just like that.
I can. Any religion. I'm not writing off Christianity. I'm writing off religion if that's going to stop you from helping people. You're a public servant.
So
working for the NHS of taxpayers' money, you should be helping people, not using your own beliefs to play God, essentially.
If you remove everybody like me from the NHS, there'll be no NHS left.
I'm not talking. You can have your own beliefs, but don't impose that on other people.
Okay, but we have to have people with belief, and they have to be able to hold that belief.
Let me
say what that belief is in the NHS.
Let's talk about practicalities.
I'm not saying that you can't be a Christian. I'm talking about you imposing that and affecting people that are highly vulnerable and need your help.
OK, they may be highly vulnerable, they may be in lots of situations that they don't want to be in.
84% of young trans people are either self-harming or have attempted suicide.
What he's saying is, I suppose there has to be some order to things. And when you look back, I mean, how does genealogy continue? How do records be kept when someone...
We're talking about gender identity, we're not talking about biological sex.
Gender and sex are the same.
They're not the same, and that's widely accepted.
We're living in a gender-confused generation. Our children in our schools are being moved into a gender confusion situation. Our parents need to stand up on this. Our parents need to defend their children. We are in a situation where we are completely changing the society in which we live.
But is
We're
that
not dealing
just,
with confusion.
Is
We
that not
are-
just happening, David, that you can't stop it? That's just the world changing.
No, it's
and
being-
people
it's
are
being
becoming
driven.
more accepting of
And
how people
understanding.
feel.
Well, that's like
that they
something out of
see-
George Orwell's 94. This is the way it's always been, but it's not. Throughout history, find anywhere in Christian history other than today when any Christian believed this. We
You can
believe
believe
the
it
Bible.
yourself. You can believe it yourself, but don't impose that on
Can't
other
write off
people.
Christianity.
No, I'm
You
not
can't
writing off
write off
Christianity. You can
Christianity.
practice Christianity on your own
You
time.
cannot
You
have-
cannot be a
What
public
about
servant
other-
and
This
not
is
serve the
from your
public.
where men and women do not have a conscience.
Yeah.
We
This is
have to
purely-
have a conscience
this is-
to practice medicine.
No.
Okay.
You can have a conscience, but you also signed an practice of ethics.
yeah.
This is a.
to
is this
serve
something
people and
based
not just the ones
purely,
you choose.
Monroe, please. Is this based purely on a religious belief as opposed to a scientific
It's bigotry.
belief?
Thank you. By God, I cannot go along with that.
Well,
but
it is. It's bigotry.
thank you very much.
We'll
I'm
give
not
you, the
gonna insult
give you the last word. Monroe.
Sorry, I've lost the track. Is it science? I believe that science is very. I believe that when the science I studied at primary school on anatomy was very clear. The science I studied
That was
on
a long
genetics
time
was
ago,
very
though,
clear.
wasn't it?
Yes, but the anatomy hasn't changed and the genetics haven't changed.
Society has.